Hey guys, so I battled back and forth about whether or not to do this video. Like, I wanted to talk about it. No, I take that back. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to think about it. I just kind of wanted it to just, with time, go away and not be something that was really a part of my existence. But I realized that that's an impossibility because this will always be a part of me. From the title of the video, you know the content I'm going to talk about. And this isn't really for people that were TTCN. This is really kind of for my tribe. Those that follow me, that follow my story, that know kind of more details about what's going on with me. And it's not speaking from that point of view and dealing with it. But it doesn't make it any less invalid what I'm going through. So if you're new, welcome. I'll probably touch base on some things that you're feeling or that you're going through, or maybe not. But I'm just not looking for any negativity. I just want to have a space to figure this out. Where to start? One, I'm a single mother. You guys know about the relationship that I had with the guy and how that turned out. Well, we ended up, I guess, rekindling the relationship. There was apologies and there were talks and expressions of I was hurt. He's saying sorry. He's coming back into my life. Just being different, just expressing himself in a different way, like making me think that maybe he has changed, maybe he's different, and he wasn't. Real quick rundown. There was a whole girl he was living with, taking care of, spending money on, lived there, had a key. There was an ex he was still sleeping with, whatever they had going on. There's other people. I was one of many. And I didn't know that because he would spend days at a time just kind of a part of my life. Calls, texts, coming over. He would stay the night with me when Eli wasn't here. Cleaning my car, riding with me. He bought dinner for my son. Like, it was never anything that I thought that there was something wrong. I think my gut said, Ashley, something's going on, but my heart wanted to believe that I didn't fall again. We started back seeing each other New Year's. I was drinking, and we ended up hooking back up, and that kind of started again. Things were good for like a week. Then the same shiesty behavior started back up, and I was just like, I'm done with this. My period ended up being late. Before it was late, I had started spotting. One day I went to the bathroom and I wiped and it was blood, and I'm like, oh, my period's starting early. Then it just disappeared. There was no blood. Before this, I had already went to the doctors and got STD testing again, just because we had started back and there was a break in between us seeing each other. I believe in making sure that your health is good, and especially because me and him, we weren't using protection, which I know is stupid, but I thought that I meant something to him, and that's why he didn't want to, but apparently this is just something that he does. I asked him if I was the only person, and of course he's like, yes, you're the only person. Before I could even finish, he's like, you're the only one that I'm sleeping with, you know, like this. And so I believed it. I had no reason not to, you know, and I was foolish. Well, anyway, my period was like a week late. I was talking to my one friend about it, and I didn't feel that I was pregnant. I didn't feel that there was nothing. I wasn't even having PMS symptoms. And I think I was more worried about the fact that I wasn't having PMS symptoms that I usually have, like clockwork, that I didn't really take notice to anything else. I wasn't throwing up. I think I threw up like one time, but I ended up getting sick. I didn't have anything. Like, I had like slight breast tenderness. It was like mild cramps. It wasn't anything that I was like, girl, you pregnant. I didn't crave nothing. Nothing. So I took, when I started to feel like, okay, something's going on after my period was like a week late, I took like 3 pregnancy tests. Like, you know, the little cheap ones from the dollar store or whatever, because they're the ones they use at the hospital. So I'm like, okay, I take them, negative. They're all negative. My period's a week late. I'm just like, what the heck? So I go and I buy an EPT test. So that's 2 more tests. Both of those come out negative. I don't believe for 1 second in my mind that I'm pregnant at all. Because I'm just like, I would have known by now. When in all actuality, when I was testing, I was way too soon to even receive a positive. So I didn't think I was. So I finally made a doctor's appointment, and I took the dipstick test at the doctor's, and it said negative. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm not pregnant. I've taken 5 home pregnancy tests. I've come to you, and for some reason the doctor's P test is like magical. So if that says it is, then you are. If it says it's not, you're not. And so I'm like, I'm not pregnant. I had blood drawn, and of course it takes time for it to go to the lab. It takes a couple of hours to go through the lab where I go to the doctor's at, because they're connected to a facility. So I left. You know, in my mind, I'm not pregnant. Now I just have to figure out what's going on with my health. I'm just like, you know, I'm not pregnant. So I get a phone call, and my doctor's just like, you know, HCG is present in your blood, but it's a very low amount. And I had, prior to coming, I had spotted, like when I wiped, there was blood. So I slapped the pad on thinking my period was coming. So I was like, you know, okay, I was tripping for nothing, you know, you know, and I literally had 1 pad and nothing all day. So I'm like, what the heck? So then I go to sleep that night. I wake up in the morning and I like soaked through a pad. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. And then the bleeding just stopped. So I'm like, what the heck is going on with my body? So that was right before I went to the doctor's. And I go to the doctor's, and then I get that phone call. And she's like, HCG is present in your system. And because of the fact that you're bleeding, she said, this is typically what we consider a chemical pregnancy, which is, it's not a viable pregnancy. You're not going to carry this baby full term unless a miracle from God happens. You're not going, the baby, your body rejected it. You're just not. So, you know, she's just like, you know, that's why you're cramping, and, you know, the blood. She's like, you'll probably, you know, bleed, but we're going to also send you for an ultrasound to make sure there's nothing in your tube, and to make sure, you know, all that stuff's okay. So I'm trying to process all of that. Dang, we're already at like 10 minutes. I'm trying to process all of that. I'm trying to be okay with all of this that I just got. And I'm like, so you're telling me I'm pregnant, but I'm miscarrying. So I'm not pregnant. As I'm leaving work, so I'm just in this kind of like weird space where I'm just like, I don't know what to feel right now. Because one, I know I told people, I'm like, I don't want another child. Eli's the best form of birth control. But the fact of the matter is, I never realized that I wanted another child until it was presented to me and taken away in the same moment. And so I just had this, I was sitting here thinking about it, and I was just kind of trying to process it. And I'm like, what the heck just happened? Because in my mind, I started to think, and I was like, I'm 31. I have no prospects on the table for any type of relationship, any type of anything. I thought that he could possibly be someone that would be around for a while because of how he was treating me and how he came in and how he was so adamant and pressing, like months of work put in just, he's been trying to talk to me since 2014. You don't think someone like that is just trying to get you in bed and just trying to be a complete dick? You don't think that. So I'm just kind of like, I'm 31. It's hard for me to get pregnant. My doctor told me before I had my son that it would be hard for me to conceive. This is stuff that I've never shared with anyone. So it's easier to tell yourself you don't want another child than to want another child and never get it. So when I got pregnant with Eli, I'm just like, people didn't realize how awesome that was and how miraculous that was, because my body, it's hard to get pregnant. This is what medically I've been told. I won't go into detail, but it's just hard. So to find out that you lost a baby without even to find out you were pregnant, and to find out just you lost the baby all in the same day, all in this short span of time, you just kind of go through all of this stuff in your mind, and you're just like, I didn't know how to feel. So the first person that I told was the father of the child. And I didn't know how to talk. I didn't know how to verbalize to him and say it. I didn't want to call him because, like, I was fine until I got home. And then when I got home, I started to cry. I started to get very emotional, and because I started to beat myself up about it. I started to just go over all the things that have happened in the last couple of weeks, from obviously when when we conceived, because we had sex like that first week and then that second week. And I'm trying to go over all the stuff that's taken place since then that I could blame myself for why it happened. I can say, Ashley, you were drinking. Ashley, you were smoking. Ashley, you were stressed. Ashley, you did this. Like, why my body decided to reject my child. And I'm just beating myself up, and I'm starting to mourn, like, the loss of it, because the magnitude of what just took place is not something you can just be like, oh, okay. People may do it, but not me. I'm an emotional person, and when all of this stuff starts to play out in my mind about the reality of the situation, it just hit me very, very hard. And so the first person I told was him. I didn't expect anything. I had no idea what to think, what he was gonna say. We haven't talked. I think the last time I said anything to him was, like, I was dog sick, and I like messaged like 6 people. Was like, can y'all bring me some ginger ale and Alka-Seltzer, and I'll pay y'all when y'all get here. And of course he's a dick, so he responded stupidly, and so I cussed him out and stuff. But so I sent it to him. He never responded. Never said anything. There was never, and I'm sorry for your loss. Okay. This is for the best. I would have accepted anything in that moment. Anything in that moment I would have accepted. He literally said nothing. which just dug the knife inside of me even more. I just kind of succumbed to the sad feelings that I had, that I allowed someone in my life that was this heartless to come into my life and wreak such havoc and such pain and such hurt, and for this to be the finale of it. I was broken completely. I mean, I had nothing. I had nothing. I had no words. I had no thoughts. I felt like the lowest scum that I allowed myself to be connected to someone like that and to be so intimate with me. And it just hurt. Like, it hurt because the realization that I meant absolutely nothing to this person. Like, I meant nothing. That my pain, my hurt, my sadness, my grief means nothing to you. And in essence, my child meant nothing to you, that you couldn't even say sorry. That hurt. And so I reached out to my cousin and I was just like, I'm sad. And she had messaged me earlier that day and was like, did you go? What's going on? And I was like, oh no, I didn't go. I was late, I had to reschedule, and started talking about something else. Because I just didn't know how to talk about it. Because I wasn't sure what was going on still. Like, I had the blood work back. Even though I had that little piece of, like, confidence that, oh no, I'm not. Like, doctor said I was good. Blah, blah, blah. I didn't know how to say it. So then finally, after that I was just like, I'm sad. And she's like, what's going on? And I told her, what the doctor said, what happened. And that conversation did not go well. Because it felt as if she was blaming me. She was like, well, you were drinking. And she was like, it's not his fault. Because she said something about him. And I was like, fuck him. She didn't know that I had reached out to him and he didn't respond. And she's saying, well, you really need to talk to him. Ashley, she's like, you really care about him? And I said, fuck him. I don't care anything about this man. If he was on fire, I wouldn't spit on him. And she's like, no, you can't be like that because it's not his fault. And I'm like, just taken aback that, like, it felt like she wasn't being on my side at all. Like, at all. Like, it didn't feel like she was being supportive or anything. We later talked about it, but I just felt that it was best that I didn't talk to anybody else. In that moment, I started to question everything. I was like, I should have just dealt with this myself. I should have never said anything to anyone. I should have just dealt with this. I should have just let myself grieve. I should have just let myself be. I should have just not dealt with this at all. I shouldn't have said anything. And then something in me just kind of snapped because I was just like, once again in my life, something happens like this. And I have no one to turn to for comfort, for support, for guidance. I have nothing. And I guess a small part of me was just like, maybe he won't be who I know he is. And maybe he'll offer me some type of comfort. Even in a word. Even just I'm sorry. And I didn't get it. And then for my cousin to respond that way, I just kind of broke. And that's when I deleted all my pictures off of Instagram and the pictures of my son, and I deactivated my Facebook. I wanted to disappear. I didn't want to feel anything. I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want anyone to know anything. I didn't want anything. It was like the cat was out the bag, and I was like, I didn't want anyone to find out. Like, I didn't want anyone to find out, but it got so overwhelming, and I was like, I just need to speak. I gotta get this out somehow. And I posted what I posted on Instagram, sort of cryptic. I just, you know, I I I express myself through my words. I express myself through visuals and creativity. That's how, because I didn't have words. I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't process it. And I needed to something to ground it. And so that's what it was. And then I just turned my phone off. I couldn't do it. And I remember I just stayed in the house with Eli, and I'm crying. And Eli, he was so beautiful, my baby. No idea what's going on. But he just showered Mommy with love, just like, Mommy, you're beautiful. Mommy, it's going to be okay. Mommy, I love you. Just, he didn't even know in the moments when he would just give me so much love. He had no idea that Mommy needed it. Mommy needed that. Because while experiencing this, I still had to be a mother. I still had to go to work. I still had to go on with life as if everything was okay, when inside I'm going through pain physically, because my body is like pushing out, you know, what was my child, and I have to pretend to be okay. Like, I haven't even talked to my family, my mom. I didn't, you know, I think the first thought, I was like, I just want to go to my mom and cry. But I couldn't, because I just couldn't. Because every time I just felt like I just wanted to call someone that I was I'm close with, or that I was once close with. I was like, I just wanted a hug. I wanted something. I just was like, I couldn't, because I couldn't chance them saying the wrong thing to me, or reacting wrong, because I wouldn't have been able to handle it. I didn't want to drown my sorrows. I didn't want to numb my pain. I wanted to process it. I wanted to feel it. But I felt so raw. I felt so raw. I felt like my heart was exposed. Like, and I didn't know what to do. Because it felt like I was on pause, but life was still going. Because all these things are going through my mind. And I was just like, I have to do something to feel this. And I remember just going and standing in front of the mirror and just looking at myself. Like, just looking at myself, like, no makeup, hair crazy, just stripped and raw, like you have to deal with this. You can't run from this. And I just cried. And I felt like the little girl that experienced hurt for the first time in her life, and feeling so shamed and so broken that she couldn't speak. And looking at myself, I said, I can't be her anymore. Because I was her for 30 years. I can't be her. And in that moment, I realized that running away is not the answer. Running away is not how I'm going to heal from this. Running away is not going to be my truth. I realize that God required sacrifice to show me how toxic the things that I was allowing in my life. And how I continue to give love when that love shouldn't be given to them. Like, I don't hate Jason. I don't hate him. I don't like him. Because in my mind, he brought death to my womb. Because I think if I've never had met him, if I never would have, if he would have never continued to keep on trying, I would have never let him in my life. I don't blame him. There's no one to blame. And I'm sure I'll forgive him one day, but I'll never forget. I don't know if I'll have another child. But I don't ever want to experience what I experienced again. And I'll never know. I think the part that hurts the most is that I'll never know what they would have been like. I'll never get to see their smile or hold them or watch them grow. And I think what hurts the most is that I feel so selfish thinking that way when I know that everything was wrong. Like, everything was wrong to even want to bring a child into that atmosphere. And I feel terrible because I have my son. It's just, I still don't really know what to feel. Relief doesn't feel like a thing that I should even fathom. But it's just like, I'll never know. And I don't know if I'll be able to have another baby. So I'm not even sure what I just talked about. I just tried really hard not to get emotional and explain the situation so that people could understand where, I don't know. And I know it's going to take time. And some days it's okay, and some days I feel immensely. There's a part of me that just really wanted my baby. And I don't have it. And it has nothing to do with the father. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It has to do with a part of me I'll never... It's like, I know it was so early, and I'm grateful that it wasn't like 20 weeks or 26 or 30 weeks and I have to deal with this. And I would, you know, I'm grateful. And part of me wishes I just never knew. Part of me wishes that I didn't go to the doctor and I didn't find out, and I just kind of I just wish I never knew. But I felt it. I felt something was wrong. I felt something was wrong. I just didn't want to believe it. But I'm going to end this here. And I hope that if you have gone through this, that you don't beat yourself up about it. That you find peace and comfort where you can. And you find your place of healing. And they'll always be a part of you. And don't beat yourself up about it, because there's nothing that you could have done differently that would have made a different outcome. Thanks for watching, guys.